Lesson 2. The Iroquois League. Belts made from seashell beads, such as this one, used symbols to represent agreements or recall events. The Algonquians shared the area that is now New York with another Native American group, the Iroquois. The word Iroquois refers to a group of nations that speak similar languages. The Iroquois nations were the Mohawk, Seneca, Cayuga, Onondaga, and Oneida. People of the Longhouse. The Iroquois relied mostly on farming for food. They grew crops such as corn, beans, and squash. Women planted and harvested the crops. Women also gathered other foods such as berries. Men fished and hunted animals such as rabbit and deer. Deer were important to the Iroquois. Women dried deer meat to have food during times when it was hard to hunt. They used deerskin to make clothing such as leggings and moccasins. I will know ways the Iroquois adapted to their environment. Vocabulary: Longhouse, clan, clan mother, league, council, wampum, sachem, resolution. Write what you think the symbols and colors mean. Because they were mainly farmers, the Iroquois lived in permanent homes called longhouses. A longhouse was a home where several families lived together. The longhouse was such an important part of Iroquois life that they called themselves Haudenosaunee. Haudenosaunee means people of the longhouse. Many men worked together to build a longhouse. They constructed a frame from tree saplings and used bark for the walls. Inside a longhouse were several cooking fires. On the roof were holes to let smoke escape. Several families shared a longhouse. However, each family had its own sleeping and storage space. The families that lived together were members of a clan. A clan is an extended family. Each clan had an animal name such as turtle, wolf, or bear. In the Iroquois tradition, the head of the clan was the clan mother. Clan mothers were important to traditional Iroquois government. They chose the chiefs, or leaders. If a chief did not lead well, the clan mother could choose a new chief. 1. Compare the longhouse to your home. Circle items Iroquois families used that are like items your family uses. The Iroquois League. For many years, the Mohawk, Cayuga, Seneca, Onondaga, and Oneida nations fought one another in a brutal war. You have read about the legend of the peacemaker, or Daganoweda. This legend tells how peace came to the Iroquois nations. According to the legend, the peacemaker and Hiawatha worked to unite the 5 nations. They convinced the nations to form the Iroquois League. A league is a group that works together toward a common goal. Each nation in the Iroquois League agreed to live under the Great Binding Law. The Great Binding Law explained how to hold Grand Council meetings. A council is a group that makes decisions. For example, the Great Binding Law said that Onondaga leaders were in charge of starting the meetings. The Great Law also said who could be part of the meetings and how the Iroquois should choose their leaders. The Grand Council discussed issues that affected all 5 nations. To make decisions, the members of the Grand Council worked together until they came to an agreement. They did this rather than vote. The Iroquois recorded laws on belts they made with wampum. Wampum are small beads made from clamshells. They also used wampum belts to record when a nation joined the league. Clan mothers were part of the Grand Council. They chose leaders from each clan to be on the Grand Council. These leaders were called sachems. 50 sachems met at the Grand Council. Pine tree chiefs were also part of the council. They could not make decisions, but they could share opinions at the meetings. Men and women could become pine tree chiefs by showing special abilities, such as wisdom, honesty, or fighting skills. They could also be chosen if they were especially interested in the matters of their nation. In the early 1700s, a change came to the Iroquois League. The Tuscarora people had originally lived in North Carolina. However, as a result of war and British colonization, their numbers had greatly decreased. Most of the Tuscarora moved north to New York. In about 1720, they became the sixth nation in the Iroquois League. 2. Write on the chart the roles of each member of the Grand Council. The Iroquois today. Like the Algonquians, the Iroquois today may live wherever they want. However, many live on reservations. Each Iroquois group has a reservation in New York. There are also reservations in other states and in Canada. Being so spread out makes it hard for the Grand Council to meet. Yet, sachems from the original groups make the trip for the meetings. Iroquois contributions. In 1988, the 100th Congress passed Resolution 331. A resolution is a decision made by a group. This resolution acknowledged that early leaders of the United States respected the ideas of government of the Iroquois League. One idea was that separate groups, such as colonies, could come together under one government. The resolution said these ideas became part of the U.S. Constitution. The game of lacrosse is another Iroquois contribution. The Iroquois invented it long ago. These are just two of the ways the Iroquois have influenced the United States. Three. Cause and effect. Fill in the chart. Write an effect for each cause. Cause. The Iroquois League is spread throughout Canada, New York, and other states. Ideas of the Iroquois League had an impact on the leaders who wrote the U.S. Constitution. 4. Cause and effect. List 2 effects of the Iroquois League's formation. 5. This winter has been very cold and long. There are still many moons to go before winter ends. The dried deer meat is almost gone. What will people in your village do to survive the winter?